there, worldwide. Hey there, YouTube. Hey there, Facebook. Hey there, LinkedIn. Wherever you're tuning in from today, thank you so much for tuning in. You have stumbled right into Kari's Corner. I am so happy to have you here today, and I'm so excited to talk about all the wonderful things that we get to talk about. But first and foremost, I am going to give you an update. The June Visa Bulletin was released. The June Visa Bulletin was released. The EB3 visa category and other workers visa category for worldwide, for the Philippines and China, there's no forward movement to report from the previous month. India has moved forward 1 week this month. So progress is progress, right? Even, 1 week at a time. So thank you so much for tuning in, and hopefully that Visa Bulletin update helped you. Remember last week we talked about the Visa Bulletin and what that meant and what that looks like and all those things. Basically, the Visa Bulletin is the line, right? Filing your petition gets your name in the line, and then the Visa Bulletin tells you, okay, this is where the line is. This is where the waiting list. We are currently serving people with the petition date of blah, 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 blah. So that's what the Visa Bulletin is. Happy Nurses Week. Happy Nurses Week. I'm so excited, and I'm so thankful to all the nurses out there. My little sister is a nurse, so happy Nurses Week to my favorite nurse, Nurse Paige. And then, of course, all of you who are trying to become a nurse in the United States. You're currently working as a nurse, all over the globe. We are so appreciative of you, and we're so thankful for the work that you are doing. Worldwide is actually sponsoring a Nurses Make a Difference program, or not, we're sponsoring. It's a contest, right? It's a contest on our Instagram page. So if you're not following us on Instagram, make sure you follow us on Instagram. Give us a like and follow. But we are currently in a contest for a $200 gift card, $200 US gift card. So make sure to follow us. You got to play to win. So you've got to be following us on Instagram for the opportunity to win. So make sure you're following us on Instagram. And then finally, we do have an upcoming webinar next Wednesday with Ron Hoppy. It's called Abandon Proofing Your Petition. And it is featuring our CEO and founder of Worldwide, Mr. Ron Hoppy himself. He's going to try to break my record of viewers, but I don't know. I don't know if he can do it. I've got some pretty fantastic viewers out there in Singapore and Cambodia. Thank you so much for tuning in all over the globe. Fantastic. Ron was in Singapore last September. that was part of the world tour that I was on for our 25th anniversary, but I didn't get to make it to Singapore. I had to come home and be a ballet mom again. So I'm so sorry that I missed out on Singapore, but hopefully you got the chance to catch Ron Hoppy in person last September. And then Cambodia, fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us in Cambodia, wherever you're watching. Always, I like it when you drop it in the chat where you're tuning in from. I always appreciate that. So thank you for tuning in. If you have never tuned in before, hello in Nigeria. If you've never tuned in before, Kari's Corner, yes, it is English language exam tips and tricks, but we are also all things immigration tips and tricks. That's pretty much what the new show title would be, is immigration tips and tricks. So I'm excited to talk to you today about immigrating with your family. So if there are those of you out there who are in the process of immigrating with your family, if you are, dating someone and you're, like, oh my gosh, is he going to pop the question? I've already started my immigration process. What is this going to look like? Or, oh my goodness, I just found out I'm pregnant. Like, congratulations to you. Like, what am I going to do? I've got to have this baby. I'm immigrating. Or, I got to bring my spouse along. You could be in the, been married for 15 years and you're like, do they have to come? We've all been there, right? But no, today is immigrating with your family. And that can be there's a lot of questions around that. And you may have a lot of questions around that. When do I add them to my petition? Do I add them to my petition? Is there a follow to join or join to follow? I always get that backwards. But at Worldwide, we do have a legal team, and our job is focused, of course, on you, the nurse. And we are you are our top priority. I have no problem saying that. Your family, obviously, yes, is a priority. They're a priority to you. So we will do our best to answer your questions in regards to immigrating with family. But there are so many nuances with family. There are so many different family dynamics. Can I bring this person? What about this person? So sometimes that means you have to reach out for additional help. But let's go ahead and get started with the program today. What up, Arlene? What is up, girl? I hope you're having a great day down there in Jamaica. It is a nasty, rainy day here in South Carolina. So I hope the sun is shining in Jamaica. All right. So let's start with help. I've gotten married and I don't want to leave my new spouse behind. You're in that newlywed bliss stage. Give it about 10 years and you'll be like, I'll leave him behind for a little while. They can follow later. But do not panic. Focus on your wedding. Have a beautiful and wonderful wedding day. And here is what you need to bring your brand new spouse with you, your bride or groom, whichever it is. This is the information you need to bring your spouse with you. You will need a copy. Cloudy with a chance of rain in Jamaica. Man, it's all over the place today. This rain. Woof. I've heard it's very hot in the Philippines, though. So if I have any nurses tuning in from the Philippines, thoughts and prayers are with you guys. I've heard you guys have had a massive heat wave lately. So what documents are needed to bring my spouse? Well, number one, you will need your marriage certificate, obviously, right? You got to have proof that you were married, and their birth certificate. So you will need a copy of their birth certificate. Translated copies, as well, are very helpful. You will need a copy of their passport, a color copy of their passport. So my advice, because when you get married, there's a lot of name change that happens along with that, right? If you're the woman and you're getting married, it's stereotypical. I know the times are changing and the world is changing, but a lot of times we will legally change our names, right? And you, as women, we get what's called the maiden name. And that comes with good morning in Ghana. Thank you so much for tuning in. So, and that means that once you legally change your name, you have to legally change all of the documents, right? As the women, we're the ones we got to plan the wedding. We got to do all the work. We got to get all gussied up for the wedding day. And then we have to go to all these government offices and change our names. Good gracious. All the work, ladies. Am I right? Yes. So when you change your name on your passport, if you have legal, and this goes throughout any part of the process. This is if you are the nurse and you have changed your name, you've gotten married and changed your name. Let's say you've gotten divorced and legally changed your name. Anytime your legal documentation changes, especially in regards to your name, you should update your case manager. Update your case manager, update all the legal documents that you need to update, okay? Make sure we have the correct name that you will be immigrating with. The name needs to be the same on all the legal documents. That just makes life so much easier, other than explaining, well, I'm married or I'm not divorced, blah, 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 blah. If you do get divorced, we will need the U.S. government, I think, does need kind of the divorce certificate and all that kind of stuff. Again, when it comes to your petition and it comes to legal documentation, the more you can provide, the more likely it is that you will not be asked to provide more information again. So just give it all up front. Give it all up front. Good evening in the Philippines. Hello in Hong Kong, part of China. Wondered to know, will I be rejected from your company to apply? Absolutely not. Irene, you are welcome to apply. We welcome anyone from all over the globe to apply at Worldwide. You go to healthstaff.org and click apply now. We welcome all applications from anywhere all over the globe. And then finally, for your new spouse, you will need police clearance. And you will need not just police clearance from your current location, but if you have moved around and changed countries, you will need police clearance from each country that your spouse has lived in for more than 6 months from the time they were 16. Okay? For more than 6 months from the time that they were 16. So if you lived somewhere for just 2 or 3 months, like, no, it's if you lived somewhere for more than 6 months from the age of 16 forward, you need a police clearance from each of those countries, not cities, countries. Okay? So hopefully, that makes sense to you. If you have questions, again, throughout this process, please pop them in the chat. Please pop those questions in the chat. Hello, good evening in the Philippines. I hope things are cooling down over there for you guys. I hope they're cooling down. I've heard it was so hot that they had to cancel school in Manila. So please, I hope it cools down. Just bring some of the sunshine over here. I mean, gracious. Good morning in Ghana. Thank you so much for tuning in. So when you, it's so hot. Yeah. Oh, and it's like humid there. It's like I like to call it my humidity sweater. It feels like you're wearing another layer of clothing. There's so much moisture on your skin. It's just insane. I know. Oh, Christine, thoughts and prayers with you guys. So the DS-260 is a form that's filled out for your dependents, and it's listed on your I-140 petition. Okay, so when you start filling out your I-140s, you will fill out a DS-260 form for the dependents that you have coming along with you. So your spouse, your children. Some people ask, this form is available online. This is just kind of a brief little snapshot, but this form is available online, and your case manager will tell you all about this form. Good evening in Pakistan. Thank you so much for joining in. Palma, yep, heat index in the Philippines. Woo, lordy. It's not even summertime yet, right? Like, we're not even in summer. Whew. So in regards to dependents, let's talk about dependents for just a moment. Your dependent, people ask all the time, and I know that in various countries all over the world, families look different, right? It's very common for families to live together, all together, for a wife and a husband to live with, maybe to have their parents living with them, to also have your children. That's a very common thing, to all kind of live together. Well, in the United States, that is not as common. It's just not as common to have your entire family living in the same house. It's pretty rare, actually. So hello in Uganda and Guyana. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm so happy that you're here. So what do we consider a dependent? Well, a spouse, obviously, that's someone you're married to. And then a dependent is going to be a child, one of your children, your offspring. Now, if this was a child you got through adoption, that's still your dependent. You'll just need to make sure you provide all of that legal documentation that you have adopted a child. What's up in the UAE? Thanks for tuning in. So the dependent, there's even rules with your children. So your child has to be under the age of 21 and unmarried. Now, what happens once you get them on the petition? You need to, let's say that your child's 21 and you're filling out your petition. You get them on your petition at the age of 21, and they're good. It's okay if they turn 22. When you put your name on the waiting list, they were 21. Okay, but they cannot be married. So you cannot bring over, if you have a 20-year-old and the 20-year-old's married. Nope, you cannot bring them and their spouse with you. It does not work like that. These have to be unmarried dependents. You cannot bring your parents with you. Your parents are not considered your dependents. I know that even if there's health concerns and please let me bring my parents, no, that is unfortunately not they cannot join you on part of your petition. It is your spouse and your children, your immediate family only. Hello in Kenya, Zimbabwe. Thank you so much for tuning in. Wow, we are super global today, Tracy. So your spouse, when can I add my spouse? When's a good time to add my dependents or my spouse to my petition? Well, when you initially file your petition, so if you're already married and you've got your 2 kids and you're like, these are the people coming with me, go ahead and fill that out. Let them know. Go ahead and start gathering all that documentation. We may not need, all of your dependent information straight away, but go ahead and start gathering all of that information so that you're ready to add your dependents to your petition. Stage 7 is what's called the fee bill stage. And there's another big document collection between stages 7 and 8. So that is another great place to add your petition. Hello in Pakistan. Thank you so much. Let's see. I see a good question. You petitioned for your daughter when they were 19 years. You reached your interview date, and it's when it's 2 days to her 21-year-old birthday, and her visa is not out yet. Yes. So it is going to be a little different, like getting that process, for your children and those specific questions for your children and when will their visa be released and all those wonderful things. Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, thank you so much. So Irene, I see your, not Irene. Who was it? Oh, Princess, I see your question, or I see kind of your update, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit more very soon in the show. Thank you so much for kind of sharing that information with us, though. Hello in Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. In Zimbabwe, do we recruit nurse aides? Nurse aides are welcome to apply, but we are not, it's a very, very long list. Very long list, and it's a very long process. Our nurse aide process from the time you accept a job offer to relocation is around a minimum, I think, 5 years right now. Very, very, very long process. You're welcome to add your name to that list, but your chances of getting over here sooner increase if you go ahead and complete schooling and finish it out and get your RN and take the NCLEX. Cameroon, blessing. Good morning. Hello. How are you? I'm doing great. I'm doing fantastic. I'm doing Kari's Corner. How are you? You are in process with them. Yep, absolutely. Okay. So do we record med labs? Yes. Yeah, you are welcome as a med lab techs. Yes, we do. You're welcome to apply. I think Tracy healthstaff.org/apply right there. Do we accept graduates of nursing but not licensed and no experience? So I'm assuming you have just graduated your nursing program, which congratulations to you. We do like for our nurses to have at least 1 year of experience, of bedside experience, prior to applying. So get your license, get a year of bedside, and then you are absolutely welcome to apply. We absolutely welcome it. Dietitians, I don't think so. I've not seen anything about dietitians on there. So I'm sorry about dietitians. If we apply today in your agency, you recently passed the NCLEX. Yay! Yes, NCLEX. If you have taken and passed the NCLEX, that is like a guaranteed, yes, please apply. That's a very easy one for me. What state did you take your NCLEX through is my question. And absolutely, yes. I think it's Bing. I could be wrong. I'm so sorry if I mispronounced your name. But yes, please find your way to that website and submit that application. Your parents cannot be counted as your dependents. Unfortunately, no. Parents do not qualify for the dependent visa. You are an RN. You want to relocate. What is the process? So we like to say that once you start the process, once you accept your job offer, so once you interview, you accept your job offer, which I'm glad you've started with CGFNS. You can go ahead and get your CES report, but you do not have to have a visa screen to apply. You do not have to have a visa screen to apply. You do not have to have your English exam to apply. You can go ahead and apply. As long as you've taken and passed the NCLEX, go ahead and submit that application, start interviewing for jobs. Okay, start interviewing for jobs. Signed your contract in 2021, stuck at stage 3. Why are you stuck at stage 3? I wonder what's happening there. Make sure you're following up with your case manager in regards to that. In 9A, so Anna is in the what I like to call the second phase of waiting. Phase 1 is there's a big waiting time when you're waiting for your petition to be filed and accepted and all that kind of stuff, right? That's the big long wait process in phase 1. And you're looking at anywhere from 9 months, like around 9 months for that petition to be filed and accepted and all that. So that's a big waiting process in phase 1. When you're in 9A again, so that's when you've submitted all what we call our civil docs, our civil documents, and you are now in queue for an embassy interview. So that's the second stage of waiting. Yes. Oh, yeah. Do I really need to have hospital designation before I can interview with employers? You've got some experience, recently got back to bedside and no designation yet. Yes. So our employers do require that you are currently working bedside. That is a requirement, I believe, of all of our employers, that you are currently working bedside. So as soon as you can get back into bedside, make sure you update that resume that you're currently working bedside. Resubmit a current updated resume. Anytime you update your resume, if you've submitted your application, you update your resume, resubmit it with an updated resume. Medical lab techs. The ASCPI. So I'm not sure about the ASCPI, but you do not have to have IELTS yet. I can say that. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that because that's your certification exam. I feel like you will need that. That does help. It's kind of the equivalent of the NCLEX for RNs. So yes, anything you can take ahead of time to speed up the process? Absolutely. Absolutely. Is it possible to change your dependent status from follow to join and accompany you after your DS-260 form has been submitted? That is a really great question. And you know what I'm going to do? I am actually going to kind of see if I can copy your question. And I'm going to ask our director of relocation that question right now, because that's a really great question. I'm going to message her right now. I'm on Kari's corner and we have a question, and your question is, can you change everything? Is it possible to change? Is it possible to change a dependent status from it's follow to join? Thank you. I always get that back. To accompany after your DS-260 has been submitted. Okay, good. She's answering me, so I'm going to have an answer for you right now. Does Worldwide have a discount? No, we do not have a discount for CGFNS, unfortunately. I know. It's really expensive. CGFNS is the only one accepted by all the boards of nursing too. So CGFNS you do have Joseph Silney, but Joseph Silney isn't accepted everywhere. So CGFNS is the safest place to go. How long is the process of dialysis nurse for New York? It's the same process, no matter if you're a dialysis nurse, if you're med surge unit, that doesn't matter. The type of nurse that you are doesn't really matter. It's kind of employment petition, right? So it's the same 2-year length of time is what we're telling people right now. So while we wait on a response for our director of relocation, shout out to Ashley Fairbanks. She's if you have when you have an existing, so we talked about the stages for the spouse. It's going to be the same for an existing. I'm making up words over here. Existing dependent. It's going to be the same process. You can add these people. You can even add them at stage 10 at the embassy interview stage. If you are pregnant, number 1, congratulations. Thoughts and prayers for a healthy baby and a healthy mama. You can add a baby all the way up to the point of entry if the child is born after your embassy interview. So all the way up to point of entry, you can, because we know even the U.S. government recognizes you cannot control when that baby is going to be born. I will say that the advice that we give, so if you're pregnant and you are, oh, hang on, here's the answer. Is it possible to change dependent status from follow to join to accompany you after your DS-260 has been submitted? And our director of relocation says, I believe so. It would be the same as a candidate who is ready to come. But the case manager can work with you on those legal steps. So that is the answer from, she says, I believe so. I'm going to tell her, thank you so much. In regards to the question on follow to join after the DS-260. So, no, I forgot. Oh, if you are pregnant, our advice and the advice of our relocation team is always to don't, unless you're very early stages of pregnancy, you know, like within the first, 3-4 months. After that, it's just advised to have your child in your home country. It just makes it a little easier, just because when you come to the United States, if you have a baby in the United States, it's going to take at least 90 days from you starting your job for your insurance to kick in. And with that, it's either 30 or 90 days, one of those two. And having a baby, you would have to pay out of pocket, and you're looking at around $20,000. That's the average cost, and that's just a normal delivery. That's not a cesarean section. That is a normal delivery. It's around $20,000 to have a child in the. I think my final hospital bill, and I had normal deliveries. I didn't have anything crazy happen with both of my girls, and it was around $25,000. For my first. If it's your first child in the United States, you have to stay in the hospital for 2 nights. It's required that you stay in the hospital for 2 nights. With your second child, you only have to stay in the hospital. And this is a normal vaginal delivery, not cesarean. I think cesarean is still 2 nights as well. But with your second child, it is, you have to stay in for 1 night. Child was a little less, but for those of you out there who are planning on being pregnant, or hoping to be pregnant, just kind of know that cost going into it. I would hate for you to have to pay that out of pocket. That's a lot of money. Let's look at some of these questions. Nephrology nurse, the requirements. So my first piece of advice to you would be write your NCLEX. Take your NCLEX. Does retrogression affect hiring? I'm assuming, does it affect hiring? So no, it doesn't affect the hiring. It can affect, it's up to the clients, really, kind of how many nurses they're taking. Our clients are all aware of retrogression. And the other thing I want to point out to everyone is retrogression is not new. Retrogression has been around. So we actually did a big catch up basically during COVID, because the United States was like, we need nurses now. So we feel like during COVID, it was just this massive explosion of like, everybody, come help us. And now, before COVID, retrogression was a thing. It was real. It was a thing. It's just now it's become, after COVID, it's like a buzzword or a hot term. Everybody thinks, oh my gosh, retrogression. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you that retrogression is not a new thing. It has been going on in the United States for years. So our clients are very aware of it, very used to dealing with it as well. So do not let retrogression, or do not think, I'm going to wait for the visa bulletin to catch up to apply. No. That's going to make your process take even longer than if you were to apply right now. Okay. Back to ready. Now in administrative processing, should I be hopeful she will be issued? Yeah, I would hope so. Administrative processing, back to ready. Now in administrative processing. It's hard for me. I can't speak for the U.S. government, princess. I cannot do that. I'm just the kind of person that I'm a glass half full person. So I'm always going to tell you to be hopeful. That's just who I am. But in regards to specific advice, I am not qualified to give that very specific advice. Is our agency direct hiring? Yes, we are a direct hire model. Briefly What that means is direct hire means that you come and you work. You do not work for Worldwide. Worldwide is not going to employ you. We are not going to pay your paychecks. You will work directly with a hospital. When you get over here, you come over on an EB3 permanent visa, and you will work directly from the hospital. The hospital is going to pay you. With a staffing model, you work with the staffing agency. I think it's usually like a 3-year contract around then. And you work for the staffing agency for 3 years. So that's the biggest difference. There are multiple differences, but yes, we are a direct hire model, and the choice is yours. There are pluses and minuses to both. Let's see. Start now, apply now. Thank you. Yes, CJ, you are absolutely correct. You are absolutely correct. Apply now. Years of bedside experience required. We like for you to have at least 1 year of bedside experience before you apply. At least 1 year. That's what we like to see on the resume. And continuing bedside. So don't get a job and think, I'm going to the USA. That's great. Yes, keep working. Keep working. You got to keep working. So let's look at kind of in response to just a little additional note. Some of these questions when you're immigrating with your family, like I said earlier, every family has different nuances. Some of you may be divorced. You may have children. So you have a shared custody. You have, there are so many different, child of adoption, all types of different situations. Every family is different. And like I said, at Worldwide, our legal team is, yes, we have immigration attorneys, and they focus on, the EB3 visas, the H-1B visas. They focus on you as the nurse employee. There are family immigration attorneys that do handle specifically immigrating with your family. So seeking the advice of outside legal in regards to immigrating with your family that's fine. That's totally fine. They're going to understand, oh, okay, you are working with an employer. This is who is handling your petition, all that kind of stuff. But it doesn't hurt if you've got very specific questions in regards to immigrating with your family. It doesn't hurt to ask advice from someone else. And I'm not just saying like a friend who they also have an adopted child. Like, yes, you can talk to them about it. But like I said, every situation is different. Do not compare your situation to your friend's situation. Every situation is different. Can a compact license be changed to a multi-state license? Yes. So when you apply, it's a different licensing process. So every state kind of has their own licensure process. So if you want to apply for a multi-state license, there are different requirements than if you are applying for a single state license. So you can apply for a multi-state license. It's just when you get to that point of the licensure process, Rain, let them know, let your licensure specialist know, I would like to apply for a multi-state license, and they will help you through that process. How about the bed capacity required? I don't believe there's a bed capacity requirement. I haven't seen that, but that's a great question for your recruiter. Our recruiters are going to know more specifically about your experience requirements that you need to meet in order to obtain a position. Let's see. So an important note, as the person being employed, you are driving the process. So make sure you keep up with all the documents you've collected. Very, very important. Remember last week I showed you guys my binder. It's labeled important things Kari doesn't want to lose. Every time somebody asks for a document, put it in a binder or put it in a file folder on your computer that just says immigration, and keep it nice and organized, because chances are if one person asked for that document, somebody else is going to ask for it later on down the road. So anytime a document's requested and you dig through and you find it, keep it. Don't lose it. Stay organized. Stay organized through this process. It's so important, and it's so helpful to your case manager. So a couple of things to consider finally if you are immigrating with family. And this, when you're married, that's your family, right? Even if you don't have children yet, you and your spouse, that is your family. So if you're immigrating with children, some things that you need to be looking at while you're in stage 9A or 9B and you're waiting for that embassy interview, start looking at schools. Start shopping around, looking at schools. Where are you going to put your child in school? Start asking around about childcare. Childcare is very, very, very important. Hospitals aren't necessarily going to provide that for you. So that's a cost that you need to keep up with. The average cost of childcare in the United States is around $200 per week. $200 per week for childcare. And that's going to vary all over the country. Some places it's going to be higher. If you're in a place like New York City, obviously going to be higher. If you're somewhere like Alabama or Mississippi, might be a little cheaper. Transportation for your children. How are they going to get to school? How are they going to get to childcare? You have to think about those things. And then conversational English for your children. You already are coming to work in the United States. You are driving this immigration process. You do not want to be your family's translator as well. Because then when you're not there and you go to work, your family has no one to translate for them. Start your family on conversational English too. As you're reviewing for your English exam, make it a family review time. A family time where for 30 minutes you only communicate in English. Please, please, please do not, because when you go to work and you leave your family behind and they can't speak English, they're going to be very frustrated. You're going to come home to a very unhappy family who has basically spent the day frustrated because they can't communicate what they want or what they need with the people around them. All right. Conversational English with your whole family. Very important. If you sit down to dinner, my family, we sit down to dinner together every night. And sometimes my daughter and I work on that time to work on our Spanish. And now my youngest is starting to pick up some Spanish. My husband is like, no. But we're not relocating to a country where Spanish is going to be the main language of communication. We're working on it for vacation purposes. So totally different reason, but work on it as a family. It's so, so, so important. Your spouse, if your spouse is going to need a job, there are some great websites here in the United States. We have LinkedIn. If you're tuning in from LinkedIn, yay. Indeed is another job board website. Start looking at those things. What are the requirements they're going to need to have a job? Transportation for your spouse as well. Well, you need 2 forms of transportation. What are we going to have to do? And conversational English, of course, for your spouse as well, because you want to set your family up for success. And the best way to set your family up for success in the United States is having conversational English skills, having those skills. Pets. I've done a show before about immigrating with your pets, but if you want to bring Fido with you, you can. But it's not cheap. You're going to spend around $3,000 extra to bring your pet to the United States. So check your airline's policy. Not all airlines will allow pets to fly, but the process is you are shipping your pet to the United States. Now, if you're going to Hawaii, I'm sorry, Fido can't come. They don't accept that. They don't immigrate pets to Hawaii. They're a tiny little island. They're like, no, we can't have a rabies outbreak. They have to be very, very particular in Hawaii. But if you're immigrating with your pet, it can be done. And then temporary housing. So be honest with you're going to get a relocation coordinator that's going to help you with this entire process. Be honest and upfront about your space requirements and your priorities. If you are, going to have a baby, let your relocation coordinator know. Hey, we're going to need a room that has, because most hotels will offer their rollaway cribs that your baby can sleep in, right? Be honest about what you need with your space. Now, don't think that you're going to stay at like the Shangri-La or the Ritz-Carlton, but you have realistic expectations, but be honest about how much space you're going to need. If you're going to need a refrigerator, that's important. The things that you're going to need. So be honest about your temporary housing requirements. So let's go through. I think that's the end of The presentation, I found this quote from Eleanor Roosevelt. She's a former First Lady of the United States. Her husband was Teddy Roosevelt, but she was very, very, very smart lady. And she said, the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. So the future is definitely yours, and believe in your dream. If you have a dream to come and work in the United States, believe in it. Believe in it. Let me see a couple questions. I will apply a dialysis nurse. How long is the process? Yep. Same process for everybody. It's around 2 years. Childcare in Georgia. So Arlene, if you're in the big city of Atlanta, it's going to be more. If you are in a suburban area that's like right outside of Atlanta, again, a little more. But if you're in a more remote, smaller town, not going to be quite as much. So I am in what's called a suburb of Charlotte, North Carolina. And the average price where I am is $200 to $250 per week. But around here, I do see people pay. One of my friends pays $1,200 a month. So that's $1,200 per month. And her child was 3. So it's also childcare in the United States. You have to secure a spot for your child. There's a lot of competition to get in good places. So you have to start researching now. That's why I tell you, research now. How much is the expense if you apply as a dialysis in New York? What expense are you asking specifically about being? We like to tell people you need to save, at least $4,000 prior to coming. That's always the goal. Is there a visa I can apply for my son? No. So you cannot add your child to your petition if they are over 21. If they're over 21, they cannot immigrate to the United States as a part of your immigration package, as a part of your petition. And they would have to get one on their own. They're seen as completely legal adult. They are no longer a dependent. So he would have to go through his own process to get a visa to come to the United States. Hello, Joyce in Kenya. You're in Athens or Athens. That's a great city. It's a college town. It's a lot of fun. You're probably looking around $200 to $250 a week. You're going to learn. It's Athens, Georgia. They say it real funny in Georgia. Everything in Georgia is just said funny. So there you go. Is it true we must have 1 year of experience? So that's for anybody, not just dialysis. So anybody. Can you apply for a job without bedside experience? You're welcome to apply, but we do like to see at least 1 year of experience on that resume. But if you've passed the NCLEX, it doesn't hurt. Go ahead and apply. Go ahead and apply. Absolutely. Go ahead and apply. You are a Thai nurse. Fantastic. I love that. Thailand is absolutely beautiful. Trinidad and Tobago, another beautiful place. Holy smokes. You guys are watching from like the most beautiful places in the world. And I'm over here looking at pine trees and rain. All right. So we do have Ian. Could apply for his own EB3 visa if they're currently working. That's a great point. Great point, Tracy. So I think that is it. That is it. That's all I have for you today on Kari's Corner. Lots of information was thrown your way today. Hopefully it was valuable. Hopefully it was a good use of your time. If you have any questions, like I said, about immigrating, if you're looking for specific document requirements, all that kind of stuff, your case manager is an excellent resource. Seeking out advice from another immigration attorney. You're welcome to do that if you're not already with Worldwide. So don't forget, if you've already applied and accepted a job offer, we do have free English language exam review courses that I offer. So happy to help you with that. If you have specific English exam questions, I am happy to help you and answer those as well about which exams are accepted in which state. I'm pretty sure we have an English exam Q&A on the docket. I'm sure it's coming up soon. Time frame from documentarily qualified to visa interview when applying for the EW visa. You know what, Asa? I cannot give you government time frames. I know that if you go to the U.S. government, like it's the USCIS website, they do publish like time frames of processing times. So that's a location that you are welcome to check out. But as far as Kari Cooper's knowledge, I do not have specific time frames that I can give you. So don't forget, if you're a nurse and you're tuning in and you're watching and you haven't applied yet, apply. Please apply. It doesn't hurt to apply. You can always say no, right? You can always say no if it's not the job offer you want. But we are so thankful that you stumbled into my corner today. I hope that you have a wonderful day. I hope that the heat cools down over there in the Philippines. Man, oh man, our thoughts and prayers are with you guys because we know it is hot. So thoughts and prayers, anyone else experiencing the massive heat wave right now, obviously. But please, out there, stay safe, stay healthy, and don't face the corner, face the world with Worldwide.